Hi everyone and welcome to the StudioJake vidcast. I of course am your host Jacob Airy. Be sure to like this video, share it out to your friends, leave me a comment, and subscribe. I want to thank everyone. I am over 990 subscribers, so just less than 10 away from my goal of 1,000. Once I get to 1,000, I'm going to do a live stream where you can ask me anything. I'll be taking questions from the YouTube chat, but I'm almost there, so help me out. Be sure to subscribe, or if you already are, thank you very much. Tell your friends about me. All right, diving right into this topic. We are going to be talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Now, I make no secret, I am a huge fan of the 2010 film Scott Pilgrim versus the World, which was directed by Edgar Wright. He's one of my favorite all-time directors. I've seen most of his movies. I don't know if I've seen every single one, but I have seen the majority of them, the bulk of them, and I just think he's a fantastic director. Probably my favorite of his is Baby Driver, but I love how he blends in with different genre. He does sort of horror comedies with ones like Hot Fuzz. He does sort of, well, I guess Hot Fuzz is more of a police comedy, an action comedy. I'm probably thinking more of At World's End. That's more of a sort of a sci-fi horror comedy that's pretty hilarious. And then, of course, he does horror with Last Night in Soho. And, of course, he did a really amazing film adaptation of the Scott Pilgrim comic book by Brian Lee O'Malley, which was called Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And it's just one of my all-time favorite films. I love it. I drive my wife crazy. I watch it at least once a year, sometimes more. And it's just, to me, the perfect film that sort of encapsulates the millennial generation, particularly me being part of Gen Y, which is kind of the early bird millennials. We were around in the 80s, and we actually saw 9/11 and understood what it meant. And for me, I thought that it captures everything. It kind of goes through, the world's changes and, the realities of modern dating and whatnot, all with sort of really cool video game special effects. Now, after all these years, Brian O'Malley, the original creator of Scott Pilgrim, the comic book series, it was released in 6 volumes, and I've read them. They are fantastic. I love the artwork in it. He kind of pays homage to sort of video game designs. They look kind of 16, 32-bit, the character designs, I mean, and also he kind of plays tribute to shonen sort of action manga. Now, I don't think it's a manga. I think it's a comic book, but he definitely plays homage to Shonen Jump stories like Dragon Ball Z and stuff with these really cool looking effects and action sequences that sort of resemble the style done to draw a manga. Well, now Netflix, they announced this a while ago that they were developing an animated series with O'Malley returning. He's not just the creator of Scott Pilgrim, he will also serve as a writer and a showrunner for this new animated series, which is called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And it's going to be sort of based more conclusively on the manga, whereas the movie Scott Pilgrim vs. the World kind of summed up the story. This one is going to bring it together more accurately, more tell the story as it is in the comic books. And one of the things I love about this is they're bringing back the cast for the movies. Hopefully Netflix is learning. They constantly buy the rights to these properties, and then they mess them up by inserting, sort of woke nonsense into them. We definitely saw this with all kinds of different stuff, such as Cowboy Bebop and now I'm going to forget, but some video game adaptions that they've done. They always want to, force in stuff, or it's just bad, like the Death Note. I don't think the Death Note live action adaptation that they did was woke, but it was just a bad adaptation. And with the One Piece adaptation, I think it stayed faithful. At least I've heard this. I'm not a huge One Piece fan. I just started on the series, but from what I've heard from people who like One Piece, they are enjoying the show, and hopefully they've learned the lesson that if they stay true to the original source material that the fans will award them. And it appears that it's going to be this way with Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, because it's supposed to be a faithful adaptation of the comic books, and they are bringing back most, if not all, of the cast of the original film. So Michael Cera, he's returning as Scott Pilgrim. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is returning as Ramona Flowers. Chris Evans is coming back as Lucas Lee. Anna Kendrick will play Scott's sister Stacy. Brie Larson will once again portray Envy Adams. It's probably the best role she ever did in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Aubrey Plaza, one of my favorite actresses, she will return as Julie Powers, and Brandon Roth as Todd Ingram. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jason Schwartzman returning as Gideon Graves. This is going to be a fantastic series, or at least I think so. I try not to get my hopes up too much these days because, like with Transformers Earthspark, you get let down. Like with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, never put the same word in a title. It's twice. That's ridiculous. But anyway, which is really just the 12-year-old Mutant Ninja Turtles. Anyway, don't get me started on that. You can read my review on StudioJakeMedia.com. But after watching the trailer for Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I would show you a clip here, but YouTube loves to pick on small creators like me, so I will put images up on the screen so you can see some of the art style. They're doing it very similar to the comic book, so it's going to look kind of like a 16-bit, 32-bit video game, but with better graphics, obviously. Looks like they're also throwing in some anime-style backgrounds and motion images and stuff like that. But I think that just from what I've seen and what I've heard, and the fact that O'Malley is coming back to develop it, I think that it's going to be good. I think it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see it. I talk a lot about stuff I don't like on this channel, so it is nice to be able to say, hey, this looks good. This is a IP that I really love. I hope that it's going to be good. It looks good from the trailer. Now, we've been fooled by trailers before, but I'm hoping that this won't be the case. Like I said, I hope Netflix has learned their lesson. And He-Man, by the way, was the property I couldn't think of earlier in the video. Kevin Smith really let fans down with his He-Man adaptation, not with the animation so much, but with the story. I didn't watch it, so I won't say if I was disappointed. I'm not a big He-Man fan. It's just not a property that I interact with. I'm sure maybe if I did watch the old one, or even the late 2000s version, I might enjoy it. Just not my thing. Just, no offense to anyone who's a fan of He-Man. I'm glad it's your thing. But I am definitely looking forward to Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. I don't normally give the benefit of the doubt to anything in Hollywood because I don't believe that they are owed the benefit of the doubt. But in this case, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Netflix for the reason that O'Malley is involved with it. It is his creation, and hopefully he won't cave like other creators have in the past whenever they get those big Hollywood checks, like Neil Gaiman, or the creator of Percy Jackson. As soon as they get those giant, big studio checks with the big names written on them, they immediately cave, and then they lash out at fans who don't like the material or the casting or whatever it may be, and they immediately attack and call us all bigots. But O'Malley doesn't seem to be doing that. He seems to be engaged with the fans. He seems to have a great appreciation for the fans, and I think that this trailer definitely shows that the show is going to go in the right direction. I desperately hope so. I could be wrong, but in this case, I hope that it is going to be as good as I expect it to be. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment, tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to Studio Jake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.